Have you been manipulated to invest in a property that obviously did not suit the purpose of purchase? Or have you been in different, unpleasant scenarios whereby a whole lot of people cannot give, an accurate response to some of the inquiries? I know a lot of people have complained that I wish I knew better. I wouldn't have gone into this kind of real estate transaction. So today we are going to be talking about how to avoid manipulations when you are investing in the Lagos State real estate market. So today we are going to be talking about different manipulative tendencies and how you can overcome them whenever you are relating, of course, whenever you are investing in the Lagos State real estate market. My name is Adijari and I'm your host here on Property Matters. In case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, we help real estate investors, more importantly, those in diaspora, to understand the basic requirements and the manipulative tendencies that are embedded in some real estate transaction. Over time, we've helped real estate in diaspora and also in Nigeria to expose and to uncover different fraudulent activities by giving detailed explanations on the investment strategies, investment goal, unraveling some of the pitfalls and some tendencies that have, disturbed the growth of the Lagos real estate market. So this is Property Matters. After seeing this particular video, do well to tell what to subscribe to this channel, give us a thumbs like so that YouTube will recommend this video, and of course, it will help a lot of people to understand the way the real estate market works in Lagos, Nigeria. Once again, I'm Adi Jari, and I'm super delighted to welcome you to another exciting episode of Property Matters here on YouTube. I'll be back immediately after this short commercial. Don't go nowhere. All right, you're welcome back. So I'm super delighted to be here after a long while. Yes, I've been busy responding to, of course, inquiries and, of course, helping smart real estate investor like you to get the best out of real estate investment. So what I'm going to be discussing today is very similar to what I've discussed over time. If you have been following us on Property Matters, you will understand that we are always keen on unraveling some tendencies and some hidden secrets that most real estate investors may not be familiar with. And that is why we're talking about how to avoid manipulations when you are investing in the Lagos State real estate market. And this obviously is going to be another high opener. It's going to help a whole lot of real estate investors, more importantly, those in diaspora, to understand how they can, decipher impending dangers. More importantly, if they are dealing with, some realtors who may want to, cover some lapses and make them invest in properties that they ought to have avoided. So once again, I'm Adejare. Please do well to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Help us reach more people. Now, when you subscribe to this channel, when you give us a thumb likes, YouTube recommends this video, and together we can reduce, all these fraudulent real estate activities. When people are fully aware, there will be of course, they'll be well, abreast of what they should look out for whenever they are investing in real estate industry, or more importantly, in the Lagos State real estate market. Now, what actually prompted this topic? Presently, I've been working on some document for some of our real estate investors. There's this particular man in Germany, and there's this particular woman in the US. And what actually happened basically was due to the fact that these, their real estate investor invested in places that they ought to have avoided. And in my interaction with them, in my conversation with them, I asked them some of the questions that I'm going to be, explaining and sharing more light on. And it was just quite unfortunate that they did not understand that there are some manipulative tendencies. There are some things that you must put into consideration when you're buying land, more importantly from Omonile. And of course, even people that are even buying from some developers are still getting scammed, not to talk of those who are buying from Omonile. Now, today we're going to talk about some manipulative tendencies and how to avoid them. The very first thing you need to do, or how you can avoid, you know, manipulations from whether the company or the realtors or whichever party that is involved in that proposed real estate transaction, is a number one, you must have a picture of what you want. You must have a picture. You must have, a strategy. You must understand that a buyer build obviously must undergo some basic requirements which I will outline. For some of the real estate investors, more importantly, those in diaspora, are buying with the intention that if I'm back in Nigeria 1 year, if I'm back in Nigeria 2 years, I should be able, okay, to buy a plot of land where I can start building, where I can start, earning rental incomes, or perhaps I want to buy in a location that in 6 months, in 1 year, I'll be able to, sell it off at a good price, and of course get a good return on the investment. So to avoid this is that you must have a clear picture of what you want. There have been instances whereby someone wants to buy a property, a buy and build, in locations like Lekki, in locations like Shongotedo, in locations like Aja, and other developed places on the island. So in cases like that, I've seen instances whereby, okay, let's say the investor's budget may not, adequately, buy or invest that kind of thing. So what some realtors will do basically is that some are pushed, to go to locations that are within, the stipulated budget that the investor is looking forward to make, for that real estate investment. But what most real estate investors don't understand is that price obviously is not what determines whether a location is buy and build. I think I've said that in several, in several videos. So there are some locations that are sold for 30 million. There's locations that are sold for 25 million. These are presently Lagos that are not buy and build locations. There are still locations that after investing, you have to wait. So you must have a picture. What exactly do I want from this investment? And it's not just having this picture, you must insist. You must insist that if this property does not have this, if this property does not have this, obviously it cannot meet up, okay, with my purpose of investment. And one thing you must understand is that as a real estate investor, you're working very hard to earn this money. You're working very hard, to spend, this money and have good things. So you should not be apologetic, okay? If this is what I want, if I cannot get this, I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy into this property. So you must have a picture. If it is an apartment you want to build, you have a picture of what your apartment should look like. And of course, you must understand that the location that property is being situated, it determines the rental income. It determines the kind of caliber of people there. So you must have an idea. You must have a picture of what you want. Then number two is that you must not hurry to buy. So one of the ways you can avoid being manipulated when you are investing in the Lagos real estate market, don't be hurried to buy. Evaluate the records and the evidences that has been presented to you. I've seen instances whereby a whole lot of people will tell you 2 days to price increase, 3 days to price increase. In some situations, there are justifications for those price increase. Of course, I've been able to establish that in some of the subsequent videos I have outlined. So the thing is, in the process of avoiding manipulation, don't be too in a hurry to buy. Evaluate the records and evidence before you. Don't undermine the facts and the information that is being passed. And what do I mean by that? There have been instances whereby some real estate practitioners have a way of fine tuning, a property to make them look good. And after investment, some real estate investor will find out that what they've been told was way, way contrary to their expectations. So one thing you must understand is that don't be in a hurry to buy. Evaluate the options, evaluate, the evidences, evaluate the facts, do a critical analysis of that location before you buy. So that's one of the ways that you can avoid manipulations when you are investing in real estate. The third thing that you should also do is that you should verify the documents, the papers that are on the property. More importantly, the survey. Now, I've seen instances whereby the coordinate numbers that are some surveys, some coordinates, numbers that or some deed of assignment that is being presented as a title document for that property that you want to buy. I've seen instances that some of these coordinates does not tally to what we have on the land document. So this is also another manipulative tendencies, and why people do that basically is that, of course, for the dishonest developers and realtors. Of course, in some cases, most realtors are not even aware. Some of them don't even understand that the tendencies for the coordinate on the land not to be the same thing to into the survey that's been presented is high. Yeah, these are some of the things that we have, encountered, we experienced in the course of helping real estate investors to verify, to check documents before they buy. So you also want to check that the coordinates are what tallies to what is written, to what we have on the document. And one of the easiest ways you can do that basically is to use an experienced realtor who knows how to pick locations, who know how to pick coordinates, who can compare, the coordinates to what has been given on the survey document and other related land documents or property documents on what has been offered for you to buy. So you want to understand that it is very important for you to do that. Then the next thing you need to do if you want to avoid manipulation is to verify the title. What do I mean by that? A lot of people have bought untitled properties in anticipation that they are buying C of O's, they are buying Gazette, they are buying governor's consent or government allocation. Yes. And because of the fact is that the reason why a lot of people fall into these traps, into these unpleasant circumstances or unfortunate circumstance is because of the fact that most real estate investors are not aware that tendencies for you to buy an untitled land in anticipation that you're buying a titled land is very high. I've seen instances whereby they will tell you an excision, you check, you find out that there's an excision, they'll tell you CFO, you check, you find out there's no CFO. So one of the things you can do that is that you want to check, you want to take. Then the next thing you also want to do is that you also want to evaluate the performance of the company that is selling. Yes, this thing is very, very important. Now, how do you evaluate the performance of the developer? How do you want to be so certain that you are dealing with the right real estate company? How do you want to be so certain that these guys won't just take my money, allow the project to be stagnant, and of course use the proceeds of what I've paid them to start on that project? In most cases, I've seen instances whereby realtors give their own reviews, they give their own understanding, they give their own, evidences, they give their own, assessment of a particular real estate developer. Yes, I've seen instances whereby some realtors, good report. I need you real estate investor to understand that in this our industries, to get an objective review, you need to confirm from different sources. There have been instances whereby some of these real estate practitioners, one of the people that come online are friends, are pals, to some of these real estate developers. So you don't expect them to tell you the truth all the time. I'm not saying they're lying, but I've seen instances whereby a whole lot of things have been said to some people that have contacted us, and when we go to site and did our own due diligence, we found out that some of the things that were conveyed as information to the buyers were definitely contrary to what we find out. So you want to evaluate the past record, you want to evaluate the capacity, you want to evaluate the speed at which this real estate developer can give you the value. You want to understand, you want to check, the time frame. For instance, for some of real estate investors that are buying off plan, you should know that off plan is not automatic. It takes a while before they can be delivered. So you want to check this. You want to check if that particular company has records of fraud. You want to check them if they have if their papers are even complete, if they're paying taxes. Because for some companies that don't pay taxes, their situation will be worse by the time government begins to pounce on them. So you want to do a critical, and sometimes one of the ways you can do this to avoid stories that touch the heart is that you confirm from various sources. So I've said it, some, not all. Some of these guys are close friends with these people, so you don't expect them to tell you the truth. So you must ask from different sources so that you can also verify. Then another thing that you also want to do basically is that when a property is ridiculously cheap, it may be a sign of what fraud. I think I don't need to stress on that. Many people are very are very familiar with this. Okay. Now another thing basically is that when you want to avoid manipulations when you are investing in real estate is that as a real estate investor, you also need to do your own personal due diligence. And for instance, there've been some places that they've been, recurrent cases of kidnap, you know, and most times you don't expect some of these rituals to know everything. So, and many of them basically may give you information based on their own present, information they have. So you want to analyze the security of the place and ensure that that place is safe. More importantly, for real estate investors that are buying properties for the sake of buy and build, if you buy a land in a place where they have security issues, now the tendency that you won't get or you won't be able to maximize the land to the fullest is very high if they've been reported cases of what security inadequacy in that location. So there are some places in Lagos, not all places in Lagos are safe. So I must, emphasize that you want to analyze, the security of that place. You want to check if there are not cases of kidnap, if there are not cases of robbery. You want to check if, the security of that place. There are some times that realtors will tell you there's security. Most of them will not go there after they sold the place to you. Most of them will not even take your calls after you've purchased from them. So getting an adequate information is dependent on your own personal due diligence. So one of the ways you can, so realtors can manipulate to tell you that place is safe. Meanwhile, the place can be a hot zone for crime and other relatives. So you want to also analyze that. Then the next thing you want to do, this was actually a recent advice that was given to by our legal team, is that then another way to avoid manipulation is that you want to check the deed of the properties if it has not gone through several ownership. What do I mean by that? I've seen instances whereby some members of the families claim, legal rights to some properties. And I've seen instances whereby this person have bought this property, have sold to this person, sold to this person, sold to this person. So in some cases whereby the deed of assignment has gone through like 4 or 5 ownership, or sometimes 10. Our legal advisor also advised us that we should be careful with such properties. And most times, the reason why they advise us to be careful basically is that we want to carefully analyze what could be the reason why there's been frequent sales of that particular property. So, and another thing that is also, very, very concerning about this basically is that when it is time for you to fix the title, tracing the first owner of that property may be ambiguous. So you want to do a critical analysis of the deed of assignment. I've seen instances whereby some real estate companies will not give you their deed because of the confidentiality sake. And of course, it has been advised that you don't share land document with every other person, but your lawyers can, help you, okay, to assess this thing and critically give, an evaluation of what he or she thinks about the present owner of that property and the series of, ownership the property has passed through. If the tendency for you to perfect the title with ease, of course, your lawyer will be in the best position to explain some of these things to you so that you will not, fall into any um, problems or the like. So the major, these are some of the ways, okay, you can avoid being manipulated into the into buying a property that may not fit your immediate need. I think I've done something similar to this before. But what are the manipulative tendencies? Now, the first manipulative tendencies are falsified documents. Another manipulative tendency basically is when the coordinates are being manipulated. When coordinate does not correlate to what it was picked by the surveyor. Another manipulative tendencies is when they don't convey, okay, the history of that property. Who was the first owner? Who was the second owner? Why was the property sold repeatedly? Are there cases of possible flooding? Or what exactly is the topography? I've seen instances whereby people have bought properties, and because of the fact that they spent a whole lot of amount of money in Sanfili and they got tired, they were forced to sell it. So these are some of the manipulations. So because you see, when you're investing in real estate or when an ad pops on your screen, the ad does not tell you the disadvantages. The nice presentation will not go over to tell you about the security situation of that place. You understand? Now, the advert will not tell you what are the impending dangers. The ad will not tell you if the documents on that properties have been falsified. The ad will not tell you, okay, if they've been cases of omonile and land grabbing activities. The ad will not tell you. And this is why we always say that these are some of the manipulative tendencies, and the outlined, approach that we have given can help you, okay, decipher and understand if the property is safe and it can meet your need or your purpose for purchase. Now there may be more, but in this field, we are not just like we sit at the office. We go to the field. We have daily experience with our good team of our legal advisors and our surveyors. We've been able to unravel what we think you real estate investor should be familiar, should know, so that when you're buying, even if it's not through us or you should buy through us, you'll be able to look out at this. For some of investors that have been dealing with other real estate brokerage firm, most of these guys may not be aware, because you see sometimes many of them have so many properties to sell. So the tendencies of checking this document, check, of course I must also say that it is very expensive to verify documents. This is not an excuse for mediocrity. This is not an excuse for not evaluating and checking the safety of that investment before recommending. But I've seen a lot of scenario whereby a whole lot of brokerage firms, a whole lot of realtors have more than 6, 7, 8, 10 properties to show to you real estate investors, so that you'll be able to make your choice. So in the process of having several, because you see the process of verification is rigorous. The process of verification takes steps. It's not just about the location. You want to check the document. You want to check the economic importance of that location. You want to do a location analysis to know the infrastructures, the companies, and other investment opportunities that are there. These are verifications that you cannot do in just a day or two. There have been instances whereby we spent a lot of days on site doing this. There have been instances whereby there are some documents that I have received over time. I don't understand some of the legal clauses. Of course, I send them to our lawyers, they check, they verify, and of course, they give their recommendations. So the recommendations that have been given to us by them are what we later convey to real estate investors, that this is what is happening, this is what this means, these are your chances, these are the risks, this is what you think you should do. So these are some of the things. So in explaining some of these things, I can explain them in less than 10, 20 minutes, but the processes, okay, are very, very rigorous. The processes are time, of course, and they cost a lot of money. To verify a land status right now in the outside is more than 20,000. Not to talk of checking documents, not to talk of the cost. So because of the fact that some real estate practitioners have so many properties to sell, the process of checking these things or giving you the exact situation and the status of the property may be low, because they have so many to recommend and to sell. Of course, in most cases, it will be a case of, if you don't buy this one, you're supposed to buy this one. I've been used to say this, though, but apologies for that vernacular language. So these are some of the reasons why we come online, from our field experience, from some of the things we've seen, from, of course, our wealth of experience. We can say, okay, fine, this is where you should go. So this is where I'm going to draw the curtain of today's episode of Property Matters. And after this video, of course, you can do well to subscribe. And at the end of this, you can check some of the important playlists that we've done. You will get value. So do well to subscribe. Give us a thumb likes now, just thumb like, so that YouTube can recommend this video to other real estate investors and enthusiasts just like you. Until I come your way in my next video, thank you very much for your time. See you in my next video. God bless you. Bye.